Here are your hosts, Nick Sainert.
I want to know what it's like to commit a crime without having to spend time in jail.
And Enrique Alvarez Clary.
C is for chunk.
Brought to you by Empire Fence and Netting on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome in. Happy Wednesday. This is the Happy Hour, 93.7 The Ticket, theticketfm.com. Nick Sainert and Enrique Alvarez Clary with you guys. Rico, what's up?
Hello.
How's it going?
It's going great.
Everything good. Just hanging in there. We're close to baseball and softball season. Got to talk to Will Bolt, Rhonda Revelle, a couple players from each side earlier today, so we'll get into that in a little bit. At 1:30, we'll be joined by Nate Rohr, the voice of Husker softball, as the Huskers get ready to make their way south to Houston. They'll play Lamar and a slew of other teams as well. But 464-5685, the Honda Lincoln hotline, the Starter Heyman text line, both those open for you guys the entire show today. Plenty of stuff to get to. But first, Rico, I have issues with changes. Okay. I don't know if you heard, but TweetDeck is dying.
Oh.
Did you see that?
I did not. I was using TweetDeck for a while, but I stopped because I didn't like it.
You didn't like it?
No,
okay,
no.
So because I was one of those that it took me a little bit to get used to TweetDeck.
Yeah, not a big
Now-
fan. I used it for when I was at the volleyball games,
Okay.
and when I'm at the basketball games,
Yeah.
I'll use TweetDeck.
Gotcha.
But I don't like today, like if I'm on the air, like I just have Twitter.
So I will say, for those that might not know what TweetDeck is, it's really helpful for people that live tweet events, or like during the show, I have TweetDeck on because I have the Twitter feed. It shows 4 categories: Twitter feed, notifications, people that reply to my tweets or mention me, and then my DMs, my private messages. And so it's nice because you can kind of cover all your bases. If stuff happens live when you're on the air,
A little bit.
it'll just automatically reload. It'll automatically pop up. You don't have to refresh it manually. Well, so it was announced yesterday that TweetDeck is going towards this platform where it's just to Twitter Blue subscribers only. And so we are in this process,
Not paying
and it
for
pisses me off.
Twitter is and forever should be free.
So it pisses me off because we're going through this process right before our eyes where we're going to eventually be squeezed and forced to buy and subscribe to Twitter Blue.
I can't believe it. I remember the good old days of Twitter when all the funny jokes were abound and everybody you would see just a tweet that's just like, man, I cannot believe this app is free because it's just hilarious. Hilarity every corner.
Yeah.
And now the app might not be free.
Well, it's funny. The app's still hilarious. The app's still
Yes,
funny.
it always will be.
But the Twitter Blue subscription is unfortunately taking it over. And
Those
now
check marks keep throwing me off.
they throw you off, number one. Number two, I wanted to tell our good friend Nathan Brennan, I wanted to tell him he switched his handle, so he lost his blue check mark.
Yep.
And he tweeted out something about
He's
it.
like, for now.
Question
mark.
But they don't have the verification process anymore.
Yeah, I was like, no, that's
so
it.
once
You're
it's
done.
gone, you either subscribe or you are not verified
No,
anymore.
I'm sure he'll get it back through the news station or whatever that he's at. Like they'll
There's
figure out
no
a way to get it to
verification
him.
process.
They'll figure out a way to get it to him.
Because if there was, I feel confident enough that I might be able to get it now.
No.
Because you don't have it? Is
No.
that why you're not confident?
No, because the station doesn't have it.
Which is a joke.
Yeah.
That's a joke. The station needs, I can't believe.
So if the place you work for has a
Okay.
Twitter and it's verified, then
It's easier.
usually
Well,
a
let's
lot
see
of
if-
news places that's the reason why, because you have to prove that this person works there, what have you, and what they're tweeting out is like verified information, which is why they get verified pretty easily.
So that's where it's different nowadays, because there's official businesses on Twitter instead of
They get gold check marks.
they get the gold check marks. Like
you have to
CBS
pay $1,000 a
Sports.
month.
Really?
Yeah, or at least that's what they're trying to do. What Mr. Owner is trying to do.
Yowzers.
I believe it was 1,000. It's
For a gold check mark.
It's more. Yeah. The business has to pay more for the gold check mark, which is just, again, ridiculous.
Wow.
Redonkulous. The
That's
NBA,
wild.
the NBA, the NFL, like the sports leagues, they have gold check marks. If you've noticed,
Well, and like CBS Sports
Yeah.
has it, ESPN has it,
Mhm.
so that's where you start to notice it. Thomas and Lincoln says now Nick is going to buy Twitter Blue so that he can have TweetDeck. If that's the case, if I buy Twitter Blue or subscribe to it, number one, I will have to think about it in depth because I don't want to just get a blue check mark and then where people can click on it and go because it's subscribed to Twitter Blue. Not that there's anything wrong with that.
It throws me off.
It throws me off.
You can get the annual plan for $7 a month. If you go monthly, it's $8. Pay $84 per year if you just buy the annual plan.
Think about that.
$96 if you go monthly.
$84 per year. This is the world we live in.
I'm just gonna wait for March, get verified, and just start tweeting out ridiculous things about college basketball.
What's in March? Why would you get verified in March?
College basketball, March.
Oh, okay. All right.
Come on, man.
It's disappointing that unfortunately we don't have a verification on the ticket. But if somebody from Twitter headquarters are listening,
yeah, I know you're listening, Twitter.
Elon might be listening.
Verify at 93.7 the ticket. What we need is just more people to follow, so then we can get verified.
That's true.
So if you have a Twitter and you're not following at 93.7 the ticket, go do that, and then tell 3 of your friends to do the same thing, and tell them to tell 3 of their friends, and just keep that going, keep the ball rolling.
Yeah.
Also, TikTok, same thing at 93.7 the ticket. Twitch, same thing. YouTube, same thing. Facebook, same thing. Simple.
And me and Rico,
obviously,
follow us.
At Radio Rico AC, at Nick_Sainert.
Bingo. Okay, so 402-464-5685, the Honda of Lincoln hotline, Starter Heyman text line, Thunder Not Collins. We are not going to get into that. Okay, so once again, Nate Rohr, the voice of Husker softball, will join us here in a little over 10 minutes to preview the upcoming year. We got to hear from Rhonda Revelle and Will Bolt today, so we'll kind of get into that with Nate. Rico, you and I haven't been able to talk about this yet.
Okay.
Is LeBron the GOAT?
It is getting harder for me, and I did this on the water cooler. I'm going to get torn apart
because we'll make it quick.
It's getting harder for me to say that he's not.
Gotcha.
I think I would put him after last night. I think I put him above Michael.
Last night, off of the floor, the spectacle and the vision, the picture of it was really something special. Like the way that he hit the fadeaway and then he turns around instantly, like puts his hands up,
arms up,
and everybody just pauses.
Except Anthony Davis,
yeah, which was interesting. There's always one. But no, like TNT, give them credit. They did a really, really good job of capturing the moment. And then
zoom out when it happened.
Oh, bingo. It was awesome. And it was such I was thankful that it didn't happen in the fourth quarter in a close game because they came out
they
prior
stopped
to the
game.
They came out prior to the game where they were like, if it's a game that's closer than 6 points or under a minute left in the game,
we're not going to
or overtime, we're not stopping it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that would just really be a buzzkill
but it would make sense.
Oh, I'd get it 100%. There was also a part of me that's like, man, I really hope OKC's coach comes in the post game just like, yeah, and that if they would have lost.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that third quarter we really got shut down.
We were rolling and then somebody scores a fadeaway jumper and for some reason we stopped the game.
So anyway, I like just the picture of it and the moment was really something special. LeBron gets on the mic and the whole passing of the basketball from Kareem to LeBron was something cool to watch. LeBron gets on the mic, drops an F-bomb.
Perfect.
And
it was necessary.
Like I was talking to Austin about it in the back room during the water cooler. And I was saying something along the lines of like this. I was glad that at that moment they decided not to like bleep it out or they decided not to dump it.
Let it ride.
Like, let it go. It's 11:30 p.m. on the East Coast. It's 10:30 Central Time.
It's a big moment. He's emotional.
And it's a huge moment. You just got you just accomplished the all-time scoring leader feat in the NBA. And in 20 years, now obviously that there's 3-pointers and they put up that side-by-side statistic of Kareem and LeBron. And it was like Kareem has hit 3 3-pointers in his entire career.
Yeah, well, he didn't need to shoot.
But it's like, exactly. But then then Kareem gets out on the floor, and it's like his fingers are the size of my head.
Yeah.
Like lengthwise, and I'm just like, this
I saw
is
the photo
insane.
of Kareem standing next to LeBron, and I was just like, this doesn't look right. This looks photoshopped.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. Like Kareem made LeBron look shorter, and LeBron's a big man.
Crazy.
But it was also funny because LeBron got called for that charge just a couple possessions before by that rookie, the rookie Jalen Williams, I want to say. And it was like, man, this guy, we were sitting there going, it would be so funny if he would have hit the shot, and that would have broken.
And they go,
and charge, and they're like, wait a minute. We're not calling that one. We gotta go again.
I just love the photo of LeBron taking the fadeaway jumper, and Thomas Bryant is in the post,
giving all out.
He's like, give it a ball.
He's called for it. He's like, I got my guy pinned.
I'm open.
I got my guy pinned.
Right under the bucket. You get it to me. It's an easy layup.
Yeah, and like
you see Darvin Ham say that they could have won the game if they weren't force feeding LeBron.
Yes,
I'm like, sir, this is not the time.
Yeah, so it is a super cool moment. The conversation for greatest of all time. There's so many variables about what the league was like and how the game was played in certain, in that day versus today with officiating and fouls, and like that's always going to be there. And you also have Michael Jordan being 6-0 in the NBA Finals, and LeBron is not, obviously, but like that's where I'm still giving the edge to. I mean, somebody said on the text line, unnamed texter said on the text line, LeBron is the greatest player, Jordan is the greatest winner.
Technically, Bill Russell's the greatest winner. You're
right. What's crazy with Jordan, though, is I'm not sure that 6-0 record will ever be accomplished.
Yeah, no, that's a hard one.
I mean, that's difficult.
But then again, nobody thought anybody would touch Kareem's scoring record.
You're right. You're absolutely right.
Although John Stockton's assists and steals record is probably safe.
And Big Bird mentions that everyone in that picture has their phone out except Phil Knight. And
he's lived that moment a million times.
But also it was great because he's like sitting next to LeBron's kids. And I'm like,
Bronny and Bryce.
They already know like they're going to have a Nike deal if they make it to the league.
Oh, yeah. He's probably trying to get them both to go to Oregon.
Bingo. That's what I'm saying. They're going to both go to Oregon.
Also, I don't know if this is a hot take. I doubt it. Bryce is a better basketball player than Bronny.
I like that take. I'm okay with that take.
Like, Bronny's a good basketball player. Bryce is going to be a problem.
I like that take, Rico.
So he also grew like a foot in a year, which I can't imagine how painful that would be. Just on your body, like your muscles, your bone, everything getting stretched out. Like a foot in a year.
It's funny. IQ Crew says Phil Knight's probably paying somebody to get a picture. Here's what's interesting about that is that'd be funny because now, I mean, that's a legendary picture for Phil Knight. If he's the only one that doesn't have his phone out.
Yeah.
Like if he just has that, he'd be like, yeah, I was the only one that was watching it live.
So the guy who that picture that everybody's seeing, the guy who took that picture,
like Bernstein or something like that,
whatever his name is, also took the picture of Kobe like windmill when he was 8 Kobe.
Wow.
Took the picture of LeBron's dunk that kind of mirrored Kobe's after he passed away. Took the picture of Michael hugging the trophy. Also took the picture of Kobe dunking in the All-Star game, and there was like Michael Jordan's dunk from the free throw line. Like the same dude took all of those pictures.
I need to make sure that we said the name correctly. I want to say it's like Andrew Bernstein or something, Bernstein.
Yeah.
Because it was credited on the ESPN picture. But either way, no, because like that name, and then I saw somebody else tweet. It's like it's fitting that this is the photographer who captured this moment.
Andrew D. Bernstein.
Perfect. Yeah,
he's been working with in the NBA, Lakers, Clippers, Kings for 40 plus years, and he's actually in the Basketball Hall of Fame, class of 2018.
Wow, dang! All right, well there it is. So it was. I admit it. I don't watch a whole lot of NBA regular season basketball.
You watched that one,
but that was the one like last night that I'm like, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to watch it from start to finish, and because it was history. Like we were about to. There was no doubt that he was going to break it last night. And then it was.
I wanted to be right because I said earlier, or I said late in the week last week that he was going to break it first quarter of the Milwaukee game.
Well, and then it was funnier. Well, that's what I was saying is like, man, it would really suck if he has to like have like 4 points in the next game.
Yeah,
and he's just like he gets done
just
by
like
the 10-minute mark of the first quarter, and you're just like, all right, this is.
It would have been legendary if it would have been just like his iconic, like the way back, like dunk that he always does. If that was the last point.
Well, he was fooling us. I thought it was going to be a right-handed hook shot.
Oh, the sky hook. He was working on it pregame.
I know he's been working on it for a couple weeks now.
He was working on it,
and he knows exactly what he was doing because we were like, he's going to do it in honor of Kareem.
Would have been legendary.
But then there was something about how he hit the fadeaway because that was like his iconic shot of. I mean, you can also do the whole like.
That's not
the one-handed dunk as well.
When you think of fadeaways, you don't think of LeBron.
Well, no, but I think that was like that was a spot or somewhere similar of a type of shot that he hit the first shot he ever made. So I don't know.
Couldn't tell you.
You got to have some.
I don't
meaning
remember
to
his
it.
first shot. Yeah, I guess
you got to have some meaning to it, whether it's his own, whether it's for Kareem.
He should have dunked it,
but
should have been an oop from Wade.
Yeah, it was
signed him to a 10-day.
Signed to a 10-day and remake that picture. Remake that.
Even though it wasn't an oop.
It was not.
People don't know that.
All right, let's get to break. When we come back, we're joined by Nate Rohr, the voice of Husker softball, as they get ready for their season to begin on Friday. We'll talk to our good friend Nate. It's another year hanging out with Nate Rohr of Husker softball coming up next on the Happy Hour.
Follow Nick and Enrique on Twitter at Nick_Sainert and at Radio Rico AC. More of Happy Hour is next on 93.7 The Ticket and thetfm.com.
Attention all Wings fans. 89-cent wings are back on Tuesdays at Buffalo Wing. Enjoy the best in both or tradition at a price that makes the whole family happy. And now at the Williamsburg Village Wings and Rings, you can enjoy $1.50 tall boys in Bud Light, Coors Light, Busch Light, and Michelob Ultra every day after 7 p.m. and all day on Sundays. Get to Wings and Rings today and make sure to stop by on Tuesdays for 89-cent wings.
Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul. It's soul food right here in Lincoln. Ribs, wings, catfish, coleslaw, cornbread, grits. I mean, I'd say it's food like your grandma used to make, but my grandma never made food like that. If you haven't already, you've got to give it a try. Check out their location across from South Point at 27th and Pine Lake, or find their food truck at events all over town, or visit them online at maryellens.com to see the full menu. Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul. Let them fix you a plate.
Finally, a good reason to have a smart house. Just say, Alexa, play 93.7 The Ticket, and we'll magically start playing. How's it work? Nobody knows. Don't ask questions.
Problem gambling can destroy an individual's finances, relationships, physical, and mental health. If you or a loved one are struggling with addiction, contact Choices Treatment Center's 24-hour helpline at 402-476-2300. That's 402-476-2300.
Working at Continental in Lincoln isn't a job, it's a career. And right now they've raised wages again and they're hiring for production operators at $24.11 per hour, which grows to $28.27 per hour within 3 years. Skilled trade positions now start at $32.76 per hour, with opportunities to make more based on certification. Continental also has salary jobs available and great benefits, plus medical and prescription costs at very low premiums. Dental, vision, and life insurance are offered at no premium cost to the associates, with increased bonuses and vacation for new hires. To learn more or to apply, go to continental-jobs.com with keyword Lincoln. Come work at Continental today.
Early break with Jake.
Maher misses 4 extra points against the Cowboys. As a special teams coach, what do you do in that situation?
First of all, you get back to routine. You don't overplay it a bunch where it's just like, think about this. But I'd like to know he always stayed on the hash, on the left hash. So all those misses came from the left hash. You can put the ball in the middle or you can put it on the right hash. I wonder why he didn't change. If he just felt, hey, this is what I do. So that will be an interesting question for me to ask him.
Early break with Sip and Jake from 6 to 8 every weekday morning.
Mike Shaver here for Trek CBD. It's basketball season, and that means you're fighting cold weather and snow to get to the arena, waiting for lines at the game, and yelling too much at the refs. Trek CBD has a variety of products to help calm me down during the game so I don't go over the top. And they have a variety of options to calm you down before, during, and after any. If you're looking for drinkable Delta 8 seltzers, hemp-derived Delta 9 syrups for your beverages, or anything else, Trek CBD has it all at 84th and Andrew. Trek CBD done right.
Landmark Implement, your local John Deere dealership, is hosting their annual planter clinic at the Adams County Fairgrounds in Hastings, Nebraska, February 22nd and 23rd. Landmark's Planter Clinic offers expansive equipment training and important information on new and updated technology for this planting season. Get a refresher before heading to the field on in-cab maintenance points and options to increase your operations profits. Join us February 22nd and 23rd in Hastings. Learn more and RSVP at landmarkimp.com/events.
Sandhills Global is check out jobs for more information. Sandhills is looking to fill hundreds of new openings in sales, traveling support, software development, web design, and more. Sandhills has a professional culture and fast-paced with a focus on growth, innovation, and leading-edge technologies. Career and internship opportunities are available at our global headquarters in Lincoln, Nebraska. Apply today at sandhills.jobs.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Sunny skies, mild temps once again for our Wednesday with a high of around 52 this afternoon. Southwest winds at around 10. Increasing cloud cover tonight with a low of 31. A high of only 40 tomorrow. A chance of a rain-snow mix in the afternoon. And northwest winds eventually gusting over 35. I'm meteorologist Tim Wright for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
You're listening to the Happy Hour with Nick Sainert and Enrique Alvarez Clary. Presented by Empire Fence and Netting on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back into the Happy Hour, 93.7 The Ticket, theticketfm.com. Nick Sainert and Rico hanging out with you guys as usual. 402-464-5685, the Honda of Lincoln hotline, the Starter Heyman text line, both those open for you guys the rest of the way. We talked to junior outfielder and captain for Husker softball, Abby Squire, on Monday. Now it's time to learn a little bit more about the team as well. We bring in Nate Rohr, the voice of Husker softball, as they head down south to Houston, I believe, is the host site. They'll play Lamar on Friday for game number 1. We got to hear a little bit from Rhonda Revelle today. Nate, welcome back to the show. How's your time off been, and how ready are we to get going?
Oh, I am beyond excited to get this season going, and I wish I could say it's all time off, but
That's true.
The poor guy's got to make a living. It's I got 3 kids, so I got to keep them fed in between. So, but no, doing okay, and very excited to get this season going.
Nate, we asked Abby how it was to be on the road for so long before the first home game on March 22nd, I believe is what it was. That was from the student athlete side. From your side, how is it to be on the road going to Texas, New Mexico, Florida, all these places?
On one hand, it can be a lot because, and I'm sure you went over this with Abby, but the schedule for this team is normally leave Lincoln Thursday, drive up to Omaha, fly out of Omaha. It's usually not a short flight. Then you're playing 2 games Friday, 2 games Saturday, 1 game Sunday, taking the last flight home, getting back to Omaha fairly late. Now, for full disclosure, I live up here in Omaha, so I get an hour cut off at the beginning and an hour cut off at the end. But, on one hand, it's a lot of travel. On the other hand, first off, it gets you out of some bad weather. Not that the weather is too terribly bad right now. So I'm okay with that. The other part of it is it gets you away to where you can focus a little more. So I have kind of a up and down relationship with it. I don't mind the travel, but it certainly is a whole lot at the beginning of the year. And it's one of the real tests, for a team in the North like Nebraska, the fact that you're burning so much gas the first 6 weeks of the year just to get your season going. And then you have to play conference, which is the most important part of your year.
Nate, when you talk about, the first couple weeks of the season, it's a gauntlet for Nebraska. They face Oklahoma State a couple of times in a couple different invites or tournaments that they're playing in. They face UCLA, who will eventually be a Big Ten Conference member. I know Virginia Tech's on that list. There's a lot of perennial and talented teams that are in the first couple weeks of Nebraska's schedule. This team has a chance to learn quite a bit about themselves here pretty early on.
Yeah, I think you always begin your non-conference schedule with the end in mind, and with the idea of what does this team and what does this program need right now. Last year, you'll notice the non-conference schedule was not as tough because I think just writ large in this program, confidence needed to be rebuilt. And as we saw last year, the confidence was rebuilt. They had a very good year. And so this year, I think this coaching staff and this team feels a whole lot more confident about what they're putting out there. The experience that's in this program, and there's a whole lot of experience back. And it's interesting. Obviously, I listened in as you guys did to the preseason press conferences that baseball and softball had, and Will Bolt talked about how their starting point every year is what do we have to do to where we can host a regional in Lincoln at the end of the season. And I believe that goal runs through Rhonda Ravel's mind as she structures the season as well. And so when you looked at this team with all the experience back, with all the talent back, I think Rhonda Ravel and the staff is operating with the idea that they want this team to be in a position to host regionals.
Well, and Nate, I think part of that, is probably the belief that you belong in that kind of position. And last year, maybe at the beginning of the year, you'll know it better than anybody because you went through it with them. Where, after I think they were in San Diego at one point and they kind of lost. They lost a game before they went on that long 18-game winning streak. But I think for a while there in the early parts of the year, they might have felt like, do we really belong in this type of position? I don't think that's the case this year. I think they're fully understanding that they're right where they should be.
Yeah, you're right on with that because they were pretty up and down. I remember coming home from the first weekend of the year, the UNI Dome tournament, which is usually an easier tournament. And I think Nebraska ended up 2-3 out there, and the field was a little tougher than normal, but I remember feeling a little disappointed. And then you mentioned kind of the lowest point of the season, which was the doubleheader sweep at the hands of the University of San Diego, coached by MJ Knight, and a former Husker. And, all due respect to MJ, but she was in her first year with that program. That's a program that's gone through some tough times, and that's a doubleheader. As Nebraska, you expect to sweep, not to be swept in. But there were a lot of positive things that were happening under the surface. And so often when we hear coaches talk about process and mentality, you go, okay, that's all well and good, but are you winning or are you losing? Mm-hmm. And last year, I don't know that the first half of the season, the results of the first half of the season reflected the good work that was happening internally and below the surface and with the team's mentality and focus. And I think all that came to bear during the 18-game winning streak that you mentioned. And they grew up. They grew in confidence and in ability. And I think they were able to take in what happened that first 6 weeks of last year or 5 weeks or whatever it was and understand, yeah, the results aren't quite there, but there are a lot of good things that are happening, and that helped fuel them on that big winning streak. And they were able to learn some lessons that served them well toward the end of non-conference play and Big Ten play. So this program's just in a different place than it was last year. You think about the years prior, Nebraska hadn't been to regionals in a few years. They hadn't had a plus 500 record for a few years. And this program needed to relearn how to win and how to be confident in those make or break moments in a game. And, anytime you go on an 18-game winning streak, it's pretty clear you've learned how to do those things. This program's in a very different place, I think, right now than where it was, even 11 months ago, let alone 12.
We're speaking with Nate Rohr, voice of Husker softball. And Nate, you mentioned the team growing up. You mentioned the experience from last year's team. Some of the impact players, they lost Cami Barra and Olivia Farrell, who's now on the coaching staff, I believe, helping out that way. But, the returning starters, I know we talked to Abby Squire a couple days ago, and she was telling us something like 8 of the 9 starters are going to be people who played last season. So can you kind of speak on the experience from this team and from last year coming into this year, and maybe what some of the freshmen might be able to provide?
Yeah, so the lineup, 8 starters back. There is a pretty significant hole left at second base with Cam Ibarra, and I hope folks are calculating that when they talk about this team, because Cam was a very quiet, very steady presence, but last year was her best year as a Husker. I mean, as evidenced by the selection to the All-American team, and just so consistent and steady and great mentality. That's something significant that was lost. I think Caitlin Caneda, the freshman from Southern California, who is slated to start at second base this year, is highly talented, and I think she's pretty capable of filling those shoes eventually, but I think it's going to be asking quite a bit. You can't just plug her in right away and expect her to hit 365 with 10 home runs. But the rest of the lineup, you look at them and, do you really see a hole? Not really. Last year, Billy Andrews, that shortstop, got off to the great start that she did. And, Sydney Gray's only played a year and a half. She lost the second half of her freshman year in 21 due to a knee injury. But, Sydney was really coming on right when that injury occurred. And then last year, she was a very consistent performer for this team. Abby Squire, you mentioned talking to her earlier this week, and I've just been so impressed by the growth she's shown in her career. She was somebody that, I looked at the media guide bio, and I didn't have a great acquaintance with what she did in high school. And I thought, well, maybe she can contribute by the end of her Husker career. And yet she's grown into a stalwart in the middle of the lineup. You look at somebody like Caitlin Neal, and she was battling the fact that her father had passed away the winter before and was still in a very fragile mental place. I expect big things out of her. So, as you just look up and down this lineup, you see people who could produce and who have produced, and now they just have to do it again this year.
Nate, when you talk about, looking up and down the lineup, you don't have to go far to find Billy Andrews. She's kind of probably going to be slated in that leadoff spot once again. And Rhonda Revelle kind of talked about it today a little bit, where she has that combination of speed, of power, of just everything you kind of want out of she's such a complete ball player. That what does that do for Nebraska, having a player like that can hit leadoff? And why would Nebraska, Rhonda Revelle, decide to hit a player like Billy Andrews leadoff?
Well, quite simply with Billy, it's a matter of forcing teams to deal with her. You saw it with Tristan Edwards in 21 before Billy, that teams were just so afraid to pitch to her that Rhonda Revelle threw down the gauntlet right away and put Tristan as the leadoff hitter and said, okay, you either pitch to her or you walk her like you want to, but you're dealing with a runner on first, nobody out. And as you know, your odds of scoring in an inning that starts that way are very good. So it forces teams to pitch to Billy, and it really takes advantage of the whole gamut of her skills. It takes advantage of her ability to reach base, her athleticism. So if they do walk her, okay, you walk her, but she's also a big stolen base threat. She had 18 last year. And so she can steal her way into scoring position, and then you're just one hit away from scoring a run. And Billy showed great power last year as well, to where if a pitcher leaves one out over the plate, she can do pretty big damage with it. So I think it's just getting Billy as many opportunities as you can, while also forcing teams to deal with the breadth of her offensive talents. Whereas if you had her third or fourth in the order, not to say that her ability to reach base wouldn't be as important, or her running game would be as important, but at the same time, you hit later in the lineup, the odds are greater that there will be 2 outs in the inning to where you're reluctant to run her, or where she might have to expand her strike zone to knock in a run with 1 or 2 outs, as opposed to being able to lead off and basically having the whole menu of options to her offensively.
We're speaking with Nate Rohr, voice of Husker softball, and this one's kind of a simple question, probably a pretty easy answer. How massive is 5th year of Courtney Wallace?
Huge. Just from the standpoint of having a pitcher that you can rely on to lead the way, just from the tangible, what she does on the field, the innings she'll pitch, the games and situations she's been in, that's important just in a general sense. But then you look at the leadership that she provides and the fact that she has a year essentially of successful leadership experience, because remember, she was a co-captain last year as well. And then just the individual talents that Courtney brings to the table, the fact that she is such a tough competitor, very athletic, somebody who can contribute both ways. She can also help you out in the lineup, as well as a pitcher, great defender, the best pitching defender, if you will. She was the Gold Glove winner as a pitcher last year. So she has a complete game. She is a vocal, active leader, which I think this program needs and sometimes has lacked. And then she's an effective pitcher on a team that doesn't have a whole lot of pitching experience except for her. So it was critical that she came back, and the fact that the expectations are so high for this team, I think lean as much on Courtney coming back as anything.
Nate, last one before we let you go. You mentioned the high expectations, and as reporters, we tried to get it out of the players earlier today of what some of their goals might be, and they weren't budging. So I'll ask you, I mean, as a team, I should say, that is coming off of a Big Ten tournament championship and a regional berth, what are the expectations?
I think you start with those expectations of being very competitive in the Big Ten conference. I don't know. The Big Ten, in its infinite wisdom, does not do a preseason poll like virtually every other conference and virtually every other sport.
Yeah.
But if they were to do one, I would think Northwestern would be the odds-on favorite. College World Series team last year, bring back everybody except Rachel Lewis, the conference player of the year. But they, which is no small loss, but they do bring back basically everybody else who mattered, including Danielle Williams, the reigning pitcher of the year. So I think the Huskers would slot second in the conference, and you would expect Nebraska to be very competitive in the Big Ten regular season race. You would expect them to be in a regional. And like I mentioned earlier, while the players I don't think are talking, I think actions speak louder than words. And I think the way that this coaching staff and program scheduled this year speaks loudly enough, in that this coaching staff is challenging this team and also trying to build a resume that would be worthy of hosting a regional. So I think that's kind of where it is right now. I think this team's going to be in hot contention to be one of the 16 regional seeds. And I think there'll be a massive factor in the Big Ten regular season race. Maybe not the favorite because, like I said, I think Northwestern, first off, Northwestern won it last year. Second off, Northwestern brings back basically everything. That's going to be a massive series, not to look too far ahead on the schedule, but right at the end of April, the Huskers play at Northwestern for a 3-game series. And I think the odds are very, very, very good that series will determine the Big Ten champion. So, part of this year would be getting to regionals, at least competing to host a regional, and at least being in the Big Ten race and having a big say as to the Big Ten championship.
Nate, good stuff as always, man. It's a pleasure to be able to talk to you again. Softball season just 2 days away, as first pitch is 10 a.m. on Friday. Nate, have a safe trip down to Houston. We'll definitely be talking to you soon.
Excited for it, and thank you for having me today.
That is Nate Rohr, the voice of Husker softball. Good stuff as always. Love having Nate on. Extremely knowledgeable on a sport that might not get enough exposure, because if you forgot, this was a 41-win program, a Big Ten champion, and an NCAA regional berth as well. So
if you haven't seen this softball team play, you need to get out there.
It's a blast.
Again,
it's a blast.
March 22nd. You're going to have to wait a while.
Yeah, but they start their season, as we kind of talked about earlier in the week, start their season at 10 a.m. on Friday against Lamar, and then they play South Dakota State at noon down in Houston, Texas. Let's get to our final timeout. Crossover with Stricken Austin coming up next.
Download our app by searching 93.7 The Ticket in your app store. Stay in touch and listen all day long wherever you are. More of the happy hour is next on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Landmark Implement, your local John Deere dealership, is hosting their annual Planter Clinic at the Adams County Fairgrounds in Hastings, Nebraska, February 22nd and 23rd. Landmark's Planter Clinic offers expansive equipment training and important information on new and updated technology for this planting season. Get a refresher before heading to the field on in-cab monitors, maintenance points, and options to increase your operations profits. Join us February 22nd and 23rd in Hastings. Learn more and RSVP at landmarkimp.com/events.
Ever think of having a career in plumbing or heating? Do you enjoy watching your favorite game in a nice, comfortable space? Taking a shower after a warm day? Well, everyone we serve at Biggerstaff Plumbing, Heating, and Air does. If you're interested in a career in plumbing, heating, and air, come join our team where you'll get paid while training. No experience required. Enjoy great pay and benefits in a friendly environment. Call Biggerstaff Plumbing, Heating, and Air at 402-466-8118 or apply online at biggerstaffs.com.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Cobble Chevrolet GMC, wanting to say Happy New Year and thank you to all of you for your continued support. We have just closed out another outstanding year, and we want to start 2023 off with a bang. The new GMC and Chevrolet inventory continues to roll in, and I'll actually be picking up my 2023 this month. So interest rates continuing to climb. Cobble is partnering with General Motors, now offering 9% APR on select models. So we invite you to the dealership. Check us out online at cobblecars.com. You'll be glad you did. All deals with approved credit.
Are you looking for a solid, stable career in assembly, CNC machining, or injection molding? We got you covered. Hi, Bob Williams, HR Director for Garner Industries, a world-class manufacturer with a 70-year history right here in Lincoln. And I just listed some great career opportunities that you can find by logging into GarnerIndustries.com. If you want top pay, excellent benefits, flexible work hours, and the opportunity to work in a clean, modern, air-conditioned facility with great people, contact me today by applying online at GarnerIndustries.com.
Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul. It's soul food right here in Lincoln. Ribs, wings, catfish, coleslaw, cornbread, grits. I mean, I'd say it's food like your grandma used to make, but my grandma never made food like that. If you haven't already, you've got to give it a try. Check out their location across from South Point at 27th and Pine Lake, or find their food truck at events all over town, or visit them online at maryellens.com to see the full menu. Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul. Let them fix you a plate.
Problem gambling can destroy an individual's finances, relationships, physical, and mental health. If you are a loved one or struggling with addiction, contact Choices Treatment Center's 24-hour helpline at 402-476-2300. That's 402-476-2300.
Attention all Wings fans. 89-cent wings are back on Tuesdays at Buffalo Wings and Rings in Lincoln. Enjoy the best wings in town for boneless or traditional at a price that makes the whole family happy. And now at the Williamsburg Village Wings and Rings, you can enjoy $1.50 tall boys in Bud Light, Coors Light, Busch Light, and Michelob Ultra every day after 7 p.m. and all day on Sundays. Get to Wings and Rings today and make sure to stop by on Tuesdays for 89-cent wings.
Come see the state's largest display of John Deere equipment at Acres Ag and Turf Expo. Acres Ag professionals and suppliers will be on hand to discuss techniques from tillage and planting to application and harvest. Also, don't miss a full lineup of John Deere mowers and compact tractors. Join us at Grand Island Fauner Park February 21st and 22nd, or the Lincoln Lancaster Event Center March 8th and 9th. Go to acres.com to request your free tickets today.
Chances are you've tried fruitcake before. Chances are it looked pretty weird. Lots of colors that don't really exist in nature. Chances are it tasted weird. Chances are you need to try fruitcake again. Grandma's fruitcake from Beatrice Bakery. None of that weird stuff you didn't like, just real fruit, premium nuts, and the delicious flavor combination of brandy, bourbon, and rum to meld all that together. See for yourself. Grandma's Fruitcake from Beatrice Bakery. Online at beatricebakery.com. Welcome to our world of yum.
The Ticket Water Cooler.
8 Big Ten running backs in their top 25 returning in 24/7 sports. You can certainly argue that Anthony Grant could be in there. Nobody would bat an eye.
That's just because the Iowa running back ended the season on a higher note. I don't care about the end of the season. Look at the entire season. Anthony Grant had a great season.
The good news for Nebraska is if Anthony Grant does fall off, A.J. Allen looks like he's going to be there. He ever mirrored the team in rushing 2 years ago. And Gabe Urban,
your starter 2 years ago.
I mean, they've got a great room.
How was your drive to school?
Let me tell you, I had to get my iced coffee first. I just can't seem to put it down. My favorite rapper just announced a tour. My phone was buzzing like crazy. I'm so excited. I had to text all my friends right then to talk about it. Then, somebody calling me and...
Let's try that again.
I turned my phone off right away. I never drive just distracted.
StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com.
On the internet.
KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket. You're listening to the Happy Hour with Nick Sainert.
Oh my gosh, I'm obese.
And Enrique Alvarez Clary.
Rico's time is now.
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
No, okay. No, we're doing this.
Welcome back
We're
in
doing this.
to the happy hour. Hold on, we got to get Super Bowl scores. Then we
Yeah.
We got first things first, prioritize. We're back here on the happy hour.
Derek Pearson.
93.7 The Ticket, theticketfm.com. Okay, Super Bowl square time. Let's give away 3.
Trace.
3 Super Bowl squares today. Up for
Trevion.
grabs.
Trevion.
I need to know who caught the helmet catch.
That's good. I know that one.
Why? Why do you
Are
need
you
to know
mad?
that? Why do you need to know that?
The Patriots.
This is the second time
That's your
you've done
favorite place,
this. This is the second time you've done this.
You can just Justin tuck that one away for later.
Oh, nice.
Wow.
Nice. I like
Okay,
that one.
Austin.
I like that, Austin. So I need to know who caught the helmet catch. Eli Manning threw it 2008, February 3rd. Let me know.
Stupid.
You get a Super Bowl square. You can only have one per person. So if you have already won a Super Bowl square, don't text in an answer. Don't do
that
it.
part.
Oak Valley Husker, unnamed texter, got it. We got one spot open on the text line. Who caught the helmet catch?
Unnamed texter better put a name in a.
Yeah. Please put send in a
Information.
name. Oh, Rico. Cubsker? Does Cubsker have a box?
I think Cubsker might have got in before.
I feel like Cubsker already has one.
I feel like
Give me a second.
he's heavy in the
Let
game.
me find this real quick. I don't know Cubsker's real name, so he might be on here.
Dang.
But
Dang. I don't know Cubsker's real.
like I don't know y'all's names.
Okay, so we got it. So we got the 3. Cubsker and Oak Valley Husker, and then Darren have all gotten a Super Bowl square. It is David Tyree.
Terrible.
So he caught that against the New England Patriots in 2008. So there you go.
He dropped it. It hit the ground.
Yeah.
Facts. That I think that had to be just as close as
Des Bryant.
the Des Bryant catch.
Well, here, Rico.
How you know what I was thinking? You're like a.
Come on. We're on the same wavelength.
Rico, I'll give you this one. If David Tyree dropped it, so did Julian Edelman against the Falcons.
That didn't touch the ground. I seen it.
Neither did Tyrese.
Yeah, it did.
Dude,
You're such a hater. Which New York team do you freaking like, bro? You're so
Yeah, isn't that
garbage?
I know.
How's that garbage?
Either you're
Because
a
explain to me
New
why
York
it's
fan or
garbage.
You're going to one of the.
Do you know why? Do you know why I like the teams I like?
Two of the most. I see. It's gonna have. It's some family.
think
I
he's
know
a-
it.
It
It's
is.
because isn't it because of your
No,
grandfather?
he's a
My
homer.
grandpa
Yeah.
didn't like those teams.
Yeah,
So I rooted for them.
out of spite.
Yep. May he rest in peace. Yeah, but you feel like a butt now.
It's like
I don't. No,
like,
I
I
knew
knew
it.
the Yankees, and then he'll like the
Patriots.
Knicks.
Yeah, and then the Knicks.
Okay, the Knicks have never been good in my lifetime, so don't.
Yes, they have.
Not in my lifetime.
Yeah,
What?
they- that-
2
that's a
years?
mellow
2
season
years?
with Chandler.
You were
2
there
years.
when they had
2 years.
Tyson
when they
Chandler.
had the L man.
No.
Weren't you? You
No,
weren't
I was
around
born
then?
in '93. My sports brain
Oh,
turns
your
on in
sports
2001.
Are you
Yes,
talking
you're
about Jeremy
probably
Lin?
Took you
The
to
L
eight
man,
to have
Jeremy
sports
Lin?
memories?
No, that was
Like
you,
actual
you
sports,
had
bro.
to
Like
be-
I've watched
okay.
them, but
You were at least 8 years old because I was on that team with them.
Yeah, how
And
don't
the
you
year
remember straight?
before-
Come on, Rico.
Yeah.
You're a hater.
Sorry,
Come
my bad.
on.
The year before,
Yeah.
they ended up going to the championship. They lost to the Spurs
I do not
during the
recall.
lockout year.
I do not recall.
Oh,
Wasn't watching a lot of NBA back then. We had a Suns starter jacket in my house for some reason. Nobody in my family likes the Suns.
really, we beat the Spurs twice in that lockout year.
You did?
My grandpa, big
Nice.
Spurs fan.
Yeah, we
Big
got
Spurs
it
fan?
back
Big
to
Spurs
back.
fan. Spurs, Mets, Giants. That was him.
Are the Spurs are they
Giants.
going to get back, or are they going
I don't
to get into the women?
I don't
Are they
think-
just going to go on a
I don't know.
nosedive?
If they get Wembanyama, he will become the greatest player of all time working with Greg Popovich. Even if it's Greg Popovich for like 3
Greg
years.
Popovich only got like
Even if
a
it's
year
Greg
and a half.
Popovich for like 3 years.
The Spurs
Unless
went downhill when Chip
Benjamin
England
Butman's
left.
kick it. Huh?
The Spurs went downhill when Chip England left.
Ooh.
Good
Shooting
pull.
coach.
But
pull.
I will say that the Spurs, to me, have been one of the most efficient run organizations in the NBA. Buy or sell.
Buy.
Name another one.
Easy buy.
Yeah,
Where they've kept themselves, relevant and not crazily
You could
over
say
budget.
Well, no, I
It's
guess
true.
if you're including the budget, I was going to say you could say the Warriors for a time.
No.
Not for 25 years.
No, it's the Spurs.
402-464-5685 Honda of Lincoln Hotline starter Heyman text line. Thoughts on last night, gentlemen? I know you'll get into it on your show, but we usually like to preview what you guys are going to get into.
The Lakers
Give us
situation?
us a little snippet of what we think last night.
How many points is 38,000 points?
You know what? That's a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot. And look, the one thing I will give credit to LeBron James for is taking care of his body to do it this long at a high level. Even though he's had long extended injuries, most people do. But for him to be able to play at this high of a level for that long of a time, I got to give credit to him. Now, to me, again, the GOAT debate is not a longevity test for me. You know what I mean? I think if you look over periods and what was done and how it was done, and then I look at other things. I'm gonna spark a debate because and I'm gonna let Austin answer, but I'm gonna throw this out. This is just gonna be a debate, and I want it to fester in your minds overnight.
I'm just gonna yell at you right
And
away.
here's why. Because a lot of people was jumping on me in the text line when I was giving my top 5 all time. And in one of those, in one position, was Larry Bird.
Yes.
And they couldn't understand why that was the case. Larry Bird is one of the most unstoppable forces with his IQ, with his pass abilities. And a lot of people miss the fact that he was all defensive. He was all defensive. I think 3 or 4 years.
3 years.
3 years. And Michael Jordan wasn't able to beat him. In his prime. Now, his career was cut off, not because of, it was his back.
It's
If his
because
back
this
wasn't,
is
he
my
could've
thing.
played
Larry
longer.
Bird could have had so many more points if he wasn't so damn hard-headed and insisted on doing his own parents' driveway.
Oh, yeah.
That's why he hurt his back. Because he like re-cemented his parents' driveway and hurt his back.
He's just a good down-home Midwestern guy.
If he wouldn't have done that, if he would have just had somebody else do it, you would have gotten so many points.
That's not how things work in the Midwest, Rico. You take care of stuff for your parents. Come on.
The other
Damn
part
it,
of
Larry.
The other part of that is just the equipment's better.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I mean, you're playing, and think about it. Think about those who are playing in Converse.
I can't even.
Those my niece just thinking about
those
it.
I don't even
old
like
thin Converse.
I don't even
with
like
no
walking. So
soles.
where we park for right next to the Breslin, I don't even like walking from there. If I had to wear Converse, walking from there to PBA over the pedestrian bridge, my feet would hurt.
Oh,
I
yeah.
can't imagine playing a whole game.
Yeah, all that pounding, and the floors aren't the same, Nick, as they were.
How much do you think LeBron spends in treatment for his body each
He
year?
spends $1 million every
It's $1.5
offseason.
million
Every
on
offseason.
treatment and diet.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I mean, it's worth it though. Look where it's gotten you. Look where it's gotten you.
Does TD Garden still have those dead spots that
No.
Larry Bird always talked
There
about?
are a few.
Okay.
They
Still got some?
did. Well, let me just say this. Early on the building of it, and when I was playing there, they retained some forms of the parquet,
Mhm.
and they laid it, and you did have some. It wasn't as bad as the old parquet floor, but they did kind of have that, and it usually was around the middle of the court is when it was. So you kind of had to know it.
Very interesting.
Interesting. All right, so we got about a minute left here. What's coming up on the show, gents?
Oh man, we're gonna have some buy or sell.
Nice.
We're gonna talk a little bit about that. Obviously, Nebraska plays Michigan on tomorrow. We'll delve into that a little bit.
Yeah,
and we'll have a guest tomorrow. They'll be on the list.
We got two big guests tomorrow. Evan
right.
Blaine today, also a great guest.
Wow.
Sorry, Evan.
Dang.
You're great. We
Are you
love
going to talk about Garrett Nelson not going to the combine?
Oh,
That's good for Garrett Nelson. He needs that chip on the shoulder.
You think so?
He needs to come back.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay. There you go.
Oh.
Yeah. All right. Stick around on the block with Stricken Austin is coming up next. Special thanks once again to our good friend Nate Rohr for joining the show, previewing Husker softball season that begins on Friday. Kyle Perry joins the show tomorrow at 1:30 to talk Husker baseball, who has to wait another full week, but Will Bolt said they've been able to get outside quite a bit. So that's good to hear from Husker baseball. We're out. Talk to you guys tomorrow.
Adios. Ever think of having a career in plumbing or heating?